Hey, what's up? It's Jesse from VapeMentors. I have a really exciting project that I am going to be launching starting right now with this video. And this is a project that I think is going to help us fight the propaganda and the big money interests that we are up against in the vape industry, particularly with the information warfare out there. And it's going to help us actually bring Facebook into our side and force them to change their policies about vaping and the misinformation that we are up against can be squelched, it can be reduced, and it can be combated, but we need a group effort. And I'm going to outline that entire plan in this video. So I want to start off by saying that this all came from a podcast I listened to called Radio Lab. You may be familiar with it. The most recent episode was titled Post No Evil. It's actually a really fascinating episode, and it's about how Facebook is essentially tasked with deciding what is and what is not allowable in terms of free speech. And they didn't obviously set out, they did not set out to be that type of police and that type of policymaker, but because they are the largest publisher in the world and they have certain guidelines, community guidelines, based on not offending people, reducing hate speech, they've had to become very, very specific about what exactly is allowed and what is not allowed on their platform. And what that has created is a lot of gray areas. And so I want to first explain what the podcast says about their policies and how they're created. And then I want to show you how we will be able to game that policy and change their own guidelines because they will be overwhelmed with requests to do so from us. But first, before I get into that, I want to explain to you what exactly I want us to do. So, and I'll explain why it's going to work. So, Stefan Didak from Not Blowing Smoke and Adults Like Flavors, he has a campaign that you may not be familiar with, which is this graphic that you can print out and say, I smoked for 33 years and I quit using a flavor, right? And the idea behind this whole campaign is brilliant, is to show, that flavors, that adults like flavors, just like Stefan is always, evangelizing. And it's a very, very powerful thing because we have it from a marketing perspective. It provides social proof. It provides a grassroots effort, and it provides just anecdotal evidence that is overwhelming. And so we need this to be in everyone's face. The problem that we're up against is the Facebook algorithm. The organic outreach of a Facebook post is only really, it's limited to people's networks, and it's limited to essentially their friends list, and it's limited to people that are on Facebook. And so how do we expand that? Well, paid boosted posts is how you do that. Now, a lot of people don't have the understanding about Facebook ads, which I will be providing information on how to get around that. But what I want you to know about it right now is that Facebook ads are very easy to execute, and absolutely anybody with a Facebook account can run a Facebook ad. Facebook wants your money however they can get it. They will allow you to do a Facebook boosted post. And there's just a few things you need to know, and within about 10 minutes, you can have a boosted post for about $1 a day. And the reason that this is important for individuals to do rather than VapeMentors or a local vape shop or a big juice company is because, for instance, for VapeMentors, I run ads that do get by Facebook sometimes, but if I abuse that perspective or that, I've had to fight for that because I've had to fight and dispute their ad guidelines for our posts. So I risk getting my ad account suspended if I do that too often. Same thing with the vape shop. You even risk getting your entire Facebook account suspended. Same thing with the juice company. So the risk is too great for an individual company to take it on by themselves. And it's also very expensive too. But you can run an ad for as little as $1 a day. So if we have 1,000 people running an ad for $1 a day, that's obviously $1,000 a day in promoted posts that will get us in front of, hundreds of thousands of people. And this is how we're going to fight the information warfare. So that's the vision. I think it'll work. I believe it'll work. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making this video. And I'm going to explain what that podcast says about the Facebook ad guidelines and why this is going to work. So first of all, I'm going to get into a background about the podcast. So it started out with actually of all things, breastfeeding. Okay. So for whatever reason, there are communities out there for women who are breastfeeding, and it's very popular in these communities to post pictures of themselves of their babies breastfeeding. Okay. So the issue that Facebook had with that is, according to their community guidelines, nudity is not allowed. Anything that shows a nipple is supposed to be taken off. So, but obviously this is a very natural human thing. It's something that should not be, shunned. It's something that should be, supported and celebrated. So there was a protest, and there was a physical protest outside Facebook's office, but there's also protests online where thousands of women changed their profile picture to a picture of them breastfeeding. And so Facebook got the message that this is something that we as the community want allowed in our content. Okay, that's fine. So they allowed that, right? So they actually changed their ad policy based on a lot of people essentially protesting and forcing them to address the issue. That's the basis of my strategy. Now, there's some other details that the podcast goes into that are very fascinating about the intricacies and the specifics about when you start allowing that. Okay, well, is this type of content allowed? Is that type of content allowed? That is like the next step after this. The first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that Facebook knows that content of this type is not offensive, it's science-based, it should be allowed, and we want to make sure that if somebody wants to run an ad that's supportive of vaping based on science and based on their personal anecdote, we want that to be forced. We want to force them to allow that in their policies. All right? And so the entire vision of this project is to simply go to Stefan, get this graphic, fill it out, take a picture of yourself holding it, post it to your Facebook profile, and run a promoted ad post for $1 a day for as long as you can afford to do that, even if it's just $5 for 5 days. I'll show you how to target it. I'll show you how to set up the ad account. And what we want is, first of all, if Facebook's going to allow this without having us to go through any type of, battle with their ad policy team, well, then that's even better. But what I predict is going to happen is people are going to get their ad accounts, their ads declined, and you're going to have to go through dispute. So the idea is we get as many people as we can to do this. We want Facebook to dispute our ads so that we can all collectively issue disputes against Facebook at the same time or in a short period of time, for them to force them, like, this is what the community wants. You have to put this in your ad policy and find a way for us to allow it so we can work within your guidelines. So, I think this is a super powerful thing, and I think that this is the way. We have more money collectively than the Truth Initiative does. We do. We have more money collectively than Stan Glantz does. We have more influence. We have more social power. We have more power than them collectively. The problem is complacency. So join me on this project. Follow me in the next week or so while I make the videos. I just thought of this weekend. I want to show you how this is possible, and I want as many people as I can to join me on this. If you are supportive of this idea, you think this is a good idea, just comment in the video below, and I will keep you updated on the progress of everything, and I will do the best I can to make sure that you can run a promoted post and get this message in front of as many people as possible. So thanks for watching, and please join us on our Facebook group, Grow Your Vape Business. We talk about business, we talk about advocacy, we talk about all these things. So thanks so much again, and this is Jesse from VapeMentors.